Since the days of exploration, mankind has been tirelessly trying to explore Mars, that lifeless, uninhabitable world. Scientists have been tirelessly working on plans to colonize the planet for the benefit of all mankind for decades, launching a variety of life forms and closely monitoring their development. And now, after hundreds of years, with Earth teetering on overpopulation, a solution is finally found to turn the red planet into a viable habitat. A terraforming project has been launched, and a brave group of pioneers are sent to Mars to complete it. However, the daredevils were not met there by the silence and stillness of the desert. Giant monsters stood in their way. By the end of the 21st century, the Earth began to experience problems of overpopulation, and therefore there were plans to populate Mars. The average temperature on Mars was 58 degrees below zero. It was decided to make the surface of Mars darker so that solar energy better absorbed and the surface heated. To do this, a program and beings called terraformers were sent to Mars. The year 2597. Shokichi Kamachi, guy Shokichi Kamachi, and girl Nanao Akita run across the street holding hands. Nanao Akita being chased by soldiers. Soon, the couple is surrounded. The man in the flying machine is reviewing his performance. The girl in the front turns to him and says, "They found a guy who fits better than anyone else." Honda. The man in the Honda suit gets out of the flying machine and says that elimination is faster on this planet. He sees some insect on the ground and crushes it with his soul. Shokichi Komachi hugs Nanao Akita and tells her not to be afraid because they will still be together. The year 2599, spaceship. Shokichi tells Nanao that it's better here than in prison. Jim Muto suggests that the guy should wrestle. Jim Muto. Ichiro Hiruma says they were sent to Mars with the other scum. Ichiro Hiruma. Maria Renjo is approached by a strange-looking man and licks her hand. Another girl asks Maria to bear with him. Maria Renjo. Nanao says that the people gathered here are ex-cop, militants, serial killer, petty thief, easygoing girl, homeboy hacker, terrorist. She says that the criteria used to select people here are unclear. Another guy says he's an underground fighter and suggests that they're all even lower than criminals. A captain walks into the room with a girl. He says they will soon enter the atmosphere of Mars. The ship lands on Mars. The planet now shows the result of terraforming. Thanks to intelligence, humans were able to transform it. They planted moss and cockroaches there. Honda tells Shokichi and Nanao that by going to Mars they can redeem themselves and get a good reward. The girl signs without thinking and says it's an opportunity to earn money. Shokichi agrees as well. Now the elimination of insects on Mars is up to them. The captain says that in 3 hours they will go out to explore. Shokichi and Nanao will head north. Jim Muto and Maria Renyo to the east. Ichiro Hiruma and one other guy to the south, the rest to the west. The captain tells everyone to be careful, but to destroy the cockroaches. He says to make sure the drug works. The captain tells Honda that they have located the ship of the first expedition. Honda says to examine the ship. Honda's assistant says that the man has been working for a long time. Honda says that Japan sent a secret expedition 10 years ago. The captain says that they have already started landing. Honda wishes them a good job. Shokichi and Nanao are talking. The girl says that she didn't want the guy to be executed, and that's why she signed the contract. The other couple ponders that it's very strange that there aren't any dead cockroaches. Suddenly they see some large creatures that look like humans, Martians. Shokichi and Nanao also encounter such a creature. The Martian quickly approaches Nanao and takes her life.
Haro.
Another girl is also killed by the Martian. The crew approaches the captain and asks what is even going on here. They say that Martians are not insects. They are big, with whiskers and stingers, but look more like humans. The captain tells them that insects were sent to Mars 500 years ago, and their survivability exceeded expectations. Neither cosmic radiation nor low temperatures took their lives. Insects looked different. All this set off an explosion of evolution and another era began. These evolved insects were called terraformers. Honda appears as an image. He says that each of the group has insect DNA embedded in them, and their job is to take them all out of existence. Honda says that the task is not that difficult, but without accomplishing it, the group will not return back to Earth. The captain pulls out a flask of a substance and says that it is an activator that will start the process of changing everyone in the group. That is, in order to take the lives of these insects, the group must become like them themselves. The captain says that it could be dangerous to use a lot of activator at once. Godly says he doesn't want to wait and exits. The others discuss that, judging by the name. The guy is okay with anything. Godly goes out to the planet, injects himself with the activator, and starts fighting. The team studies the structure of the insects and how they have changed. Godly dies in a fight with an insect. The insect climbs on the ship's window, breaks it, and makes its way inside to the crew. One guy on the crew analyzes the insect. The bullet ant, one of the largest and most dangerous, lifts 100 times its weight, has powerful jaws and a long stinger. The team sees that the insects are countless and realize they are finished. The girl says they won't be able to take off because the instruments are giving an error. One guy on the team, who has already used the activator and become like an insect himself, says he will distract the opponent to buy time for the team. He displays a picture of the ship from the last expedition and says that if the team is lucky and they can launch it, they'll fly away. The team takes their seats in the car and some turn into insects. One of the guys, after transforming, lets out a flame from his mouth, a jet of gas, thus providing speed to the ship. On the ship at this time, the remaining crew members are trying to hold off the insect army. One guy guesses to start pumping out air so the insects start suffocating. Shokichi recalls the situation with Nanao. The girl was being beaten up by a man on the street, and Shokichi stood up for him. The girl took the man's life by stabbing him, but Shokichi intercepted the weapon and told her that he was the one who took his life, taking responsibility for it. Suddenly, the team in the car sees a huge pile of insects coming straight at them. They're like a tsunami. The team speeds through the pile of insects and drives on. However, the second wave comes. The girls on the team inject themselves with an activator to help the team get through this wave. The car flips over. The two girls and the guy who was accelerating the car fall to the ground, ending up right between the insects. The car engages automatic mode and drives off on its own. The surviving crew members get out of a promo car near the ship they were traveling to. They go inside and discover that the computer has sent something back to Earth. The team also realizes that the insects are intelligent and even know how to use weapons. Honda learns that the group has made it to the first ship. He contacts one of the insects and learns that the group is still fighting. The insect says it will be embarking on a mission. The group in the meantime continues to turn into insects and fight. The insect that was talking to Honda approaches the captain on the ship and threatens him with a weapon. Shokichi and the others suddenly see a pyramid. The guy doesn't understand why there are pyramids on Mars. The captain asks the insect who he is. The insect's skin opens up and a girl emerges from it. She says the terraformer's egg is on board and it's safe to fly. She takes the captain's life. Asuka Mariki. The girl revives the guy, to whom she tells him it was all for the egg. She shows the egg itself and says they'll soon be born as the second generation, and then it's time to fly away. Shokichi and the rest of the guys are contacted by Honda. He says that everything is going according to plan and that his ships are being run by Asuka Mariki, and what is on the ship will allow for a real breakthrough. Honda says that Asuka Mariki can control the cockroaches, and they obey her. Honda says that he ordered her and the captain to bring something back. Honda says that everyone from the first expedition died, but they managed to send a capsule back to Earth that contained a terraformer's head. The Japanese government, after the report of the operation, decided to destroy the terraformers. But after surveying Mars, they realized that the plan was adventurous. After studying the sample, they decided to combine the DNA of the terraformers and human DNA, naming the operation BAX. It was decided to use humans as weapons for the sweep. While the test phase was underway, people who could be easily controlled were approved for the operation. By obtaining a terraformer's egg, it would be possible to better understand the secrets of their evolution. By comparing the results of the transformations and combat potential, stronger modifications could be created. allowing for a Japanese army that would be as powerful as nuclear weapons. Ko Honda tells the group that on Earth they were the dregs of society, but here they will be able to serve for the good of humanity. Shokichi tells Ko Honda to dread the moment when they return to Earth alive. Ko Honda wonders how they will do that, since they have nothing to fly away on. Ichiro Hiruma remembers how his siblings had nothing to eat, and his mother was sick and hoped for him. He remembers how he was framed for raping a girl, taking away all of his developed research, because Ichiro Hiruma really needed the money. Asuka Mariki says she can control the insects and will get everything she wants. The girl and Ichiro look at the egg, it starts to crack and something hatches out of it. It turns out to be 2 insects. Asuka Mariki insinuates to them that she is their big sister so that they obey her. But the creatures do not obey and attack the girl. The ship takes off. Ko Honda sees that Asuka Mariki's control is not working. Ko Honda wonders how this happened, and if the insects could have developed immunity. Ko Honda tells the ship to land back on Mars immediately. The insects on the ship let out their cry, and the other insects from the surface of Mars take off and swarm the ship, landing it back. Ko Honda says that such a thing was not in his plans. Shokichi says that the insects are getting bigger and bigger and there's no end to them. The girl next to him says there's only one way out. Either you take your life or you take yours, and the rest doesn't matter. Shokichi says they must survive and return to Earth. He remembers that there is an escape pod on the ship. The group injects themselves with the activator and begin to fight. They notice that these insects are even more agile than the previous ones, their movements resembling those of humans, as if they are even more evolved. One of the insects takes one girl's life. Jim Muto injects himself with a second dose of the activator. Jim Muto takes off and fights the insects in the air. He injects himself with another dose. Ko Honda, seeing this, says that such a change is irreversible. Jim Muto tries to tell the insects that he is now their king, and they must obey. Then he says that he simply has no desire to live on Earth, or to live at all, and therefore he is willing to do anything. He says that it's over here and now. Suddenly, the Queen of Insects flies up to the surface, or rather descends from the sky, a girl with wings, all white. Shokichi recognizes her as Nanao. The girl starts flying around and sprinkling some kind of pollen on the surface and on the insects. Jim Muto says that if a butterfly drops scales, there will be an explosion. Shokichi yells at Nanao not to do that, not to blow herself up. He tells the girl that they need to get back together and takes off towards her. Jim Muto tries to talk some sense into the guy and says the girl is dead, it's not her anymore. Shokichi flies up close to Nanao. At the same moment, one of the insects shoots, and everything starts to burn. There is an explosion. Jim Muto manages to pick up Shokichi and fly even higher. After coming to his senses, Shokichi approaches Jim Muto, who is already very sick. Jim Muto asks not to feel sorry for him because he has been alone since childhood, and everyone has used him. He says that now he doesn't know if he is a human or an insect. Shokichi tells Jim Muto that he is not just a man, but his friend. Jim Muto says that Nanao gave her life for Shokichi, and therefore he must live and must return to Earth. It was Nanao's wish. Jim Muto dies. Ichiro Hiruma comes to his senses and takes the insect's life with the words that he needs money. Shokichi comes to Ichiro's ship and tells him he is a traitor. Ichiro points a gun at Shokichi, but it doesn't shoot him, but an insect from behind. He tells Shokichi not to relax because they have a common cause, and there's room for 2 in the capsule. Ko Honda pronounces that he has lost. Ichiro Hiruma reveals the existence of the terraformers to the world. Ichiro Hiruma says that when he returns to Earth, he will start over. Shokichi pronounces that he will build a tomb and bury everyone, and then come back again.